Coming up, ROTC medevacs the Coxwell Amphitheater, a medical emergency on campus, and your weather and sports. That's all happening right here on Spinnaker News. Good morning, Ospreys. I'm Alex Krotz in for Tedlin Locke. You're watching Spinnaker News on Spinnaker Television. The ROTC program had a training exercise yesterday that was supposed to involve 2 Black Hawk helicopters. ROTC cadets were simulating medical evacuations or medevacs in different combat scenarios. The cadets would have been loading patients onto helicopters while communicating with pilots. Weather conditions, however, forced the helicopters back to base, so the cadets moved to Plan B. Major Richard Pless, Assistant Professor of Military Science, explains the operation.
Since the aircraft was canceled because of the weather, we're going to, so we typically have a backup plan, or what we'll call a contingency plan to account for the training time that we have. So we have a couple hours with the cadets a week for their laboratory, and this is what it was scheduled. So this is a regular scheduled class for them. And so what they're going to do now, since we have the use of some radios, and you see some radios sitting out there, and that's what we were going to talk back and forth to the aircraft with. But since we have that with us now, we're going to maximize our opportunity that we have with the equipment, because we don't typically have it.
Professors are going to try and reschedule the training before the seniors graduate on May 1st. A 46-year-old man died on the morning of April 4th after collapsing in front of the Fine Arts Center. UNFPD was called to the scene referencing a one-down sick call. When the officers arrived, they found a man performing CPR on the victim. A registered nurse took over compressions until a UNFPD sergeant arrived with an AED. Jacksonville Fire Rescue arrived and continued efforts to resuscitate the man before transporting him to St. Vincent's Hospital. He was pronounced dead after arriving at the hospital. A student reported his wallet stolen on April 3rd after noticing unauthorized charges on his credit card. A UNFPD officer was dispatched to the library to speak with the student. The victim explained to the officer that he had left class at 7:30 p.m. on April 2nd, but he couldn't find his wallet. The victim thought he left it in the Chick-fil-A bathroom around 6 p.m., but he checked and it wasn't there. He told the officer he canceled his credit card, but the credit company said someone had made 2 purchases on the card for $3.20 and $8.30. The case has not been cleared and will be followed up by patrol. All right, Ospreys, it's time to see what's going on in this weather. Here's Connor Spielmaker.
Thanks, Alex, and hey, Ospreys, I'm Connor Spinnaker telling you how it is outside right now and throughout your day. Let's check it out. Stepping outside this morning, you might feel a little bit chilly with temperatures slightly below 70 degrees and a slight mist and fog. Grab a light sweater to get you through the morning, but nothing too heavy since we'll have highs near 75 degrees. It's making out for a bit of a gloomy Friday, staying with the clouds throughout the day and a decent chance of thunderstorms this afternoon. Temperatures will dip back down into the mid to high 60s tonight as the rain continues with it. The trend continues over the weekend with chances of rain both Saturday and Sunday, and temperatures increasing slowly throughout the weekend. Saturday will get us up to the high 70s and Sunday hitting the low 80s. Being stuck inside this weekend is looking like a great opportunity to study for finals or binge watch Netflix. If you're planning on hitting the waves today, good luck. Surfline reports conditions as fair with 2 to 3 foot swells, but you might get some occasional luck. Conditions should improve somewhat over the weekend with a swell bump that's going to die down later on next week. That's your need to know for the weather. Let's get back to the desk right after a quick look at your 3-day forecast.
Thanks, Connor. Sounds like a little rumble over in sports. Let's get over to Catherine to find out what it is.
Good morning, Ospreys. I'm Catherine Marsh here with your Spinnaker Sports Update. Starting off on the diamond, the UNF baseball team hosts the baseball edition of the River City Rumble against crosstown rival JU. In this 3-game series, the Ospreys head coach Smoke Label will attempt his 600th win of his career. That will take place at home starting tonight at 6 p.m. The second and third games of this series will be played on Saturday and Sunday. Both first pitches are set for 1 p.m. Tossing it over to the sand, the North Florida women's sand volleyball team begins play in the 2015 Atlantic Sun Championship Tournament. The first game is set against tournament host Florida Gulf Coast this morning beginning at 9 a.m. at Estero Community Park. The Lady Ospreys have claimed 2 of the previous 3 ASUN tournament titles and finished the regular season 9-10 overall and 4-4 in conference play. The championship tournament is a double elimination bracket. With a win in the opening match, the Ospreys would advance to a game against top-seeded Stetson today at 1 p.m. And finally, tossing it over to the track, the North Florida track and field team have several squad members competing in the 57th annual Mount Sac Relays at Hilmer Lodge Stadium that began on Thursday and runs through Saturday. The women scheduled to run are Alessandra Valdez, Alexis Irwin, Eden Meyer, and Ellie Baker. Competing for the men are Nick Morgan, Michael D'Amato, and Brad Hort. Following this prestigious competition, North Florida's next competition will be the Tom Jones Memorial in Gainesville, Florida on April 24th. Well, that's it for today's Spinnaker Sports. Alex, back to you.
Thanks, Catherine. Well, that's all the time we have for you today on Spinnaker News. But for more on the stories reported today and other stories, you can check out unfspinnaker.com. You can also like the Spinnaker on Facebook at facebook.com/UNFSpinnaker, and you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at UNFSpinnaker. For Connor Spielmaker and Catherine Marsh, I'm Alex Krotz. Have a great weekend, UNF.